On today's episode of Titus and Tate, is the old Big East back, Tate, or is it dead? Because on the one hand, Dan Hurley gets tossed.
Can it be both? That's the question.
Yeah, Dan Hurley gets tossed on some BS that, frankly, in the old Big East would never have, never would have even registered as anything. Gets 2 texts, tries to pump up the UConn crowd, gets tossed. So that tells me
slaps the table.
Yeah, that tells me old Big East not back. But then the UConn Huskies come back from down. What were they down, like 4 in they were down 4 in the final minute.
Yeah, it looked like it was over.
69-65.
Yeah.
Come back and beat Villanova. UConn beating Villanova, Tate, feels like an old Big East thing. Because Villanova represents the new Big East. UConn represents the old Big East. The old Big East may, in fact, be back because UConn, who ran the old Big East, is now back.
Yes.
But then they're not at the top of the Big East standing. It's very confusing. We're going to try to.
This is the first win for UConn over Villanova since the 2014 NCAA tournament.
Wow.
What? Wait, what? That's where we are.
Yeah, so the old Big East might be dead, but it might be back. We don't really know. What I know for sure is dead is the Michigan State Spartans. They got obliterated by Iowa tonight. They have zero
once the number 11 team in the country.
Yeah.
A lot of people chirping at us. Why aren't you promoting this team? Why aren't you shooting this team to the moon?
Yes.
Here's why.
Watch what happened tonight against Iowa. We also got to talk about a story that we have not touched on this show because it happened over the weekend.
Yes.
Which is
you were at Daytona.
Yeah.
I was at the Genesis Open. We had other things going on, but we have to talk about this.
We have to talk about Juwan Howard in Michigan. What do we call it, Jim? The melee? The melee
this is Jim.
In Madison.
The Madison melee.
Melee in Madison.
Melee in Madison.
Jim's getting really excited with the opportunity to brand something.
Yes.
Like
this
Malice
is
in the Palace. What is it? This is the
How do you spell melee? Does anyone
We'll
know?
talk about Juwan. I know everybody is just like dying to hear our thoughts.
Feels like it's already resolved at this point, which is really good for us. You know what I mean? We didn't want to be the first ones to come in and say this is what should happen, then something drastically different happens. We look dumb. We wait till the final result, then we chime in.
Yeah, and then we chime in and tell you where you
got it wrong.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
That's classic.
No, we'll talk about Juwan and the fallout and all that. I'm
the
sure
melee
at the end, but we're gonna mostly talk about maybe UConn. The big win. All that coming up. But first,
Woody Durham.
All right, Tate. UConn 71, Villanova 69. This coming on a day where we were on the internet and Evan how do you say his name? Evan Miyakawa?
Yes.
My apologies to Evan. Miyakawa. Yeah. He's he popped up into our lives.
He crunched the numbers for us.
Yeah, he crunched the numbers on the race to 69 and told us that the race to 69, because I had put on the last show, I'd put the race to 69 at number 1 on the fraud power rankings.
Yes.
And he chimed in and he was like, not so fast. 93.7% of the time.
Ooh.
That the team that scores 69 first, they are the team that is in fact victorious.
Which, if you round up, is 100%.
It is basically 100%.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
No, it's not basically. It is. If you get a 93 on a test, you felt like
if someone tells you have a 93% chance of something happening, you do hear 100 for sure.
If you,
I hear 100. If you're like
exactly,
yeah, I'm like, okay, then nothing can go wrong.
And at the end of the day, when you get your report card, is it an A? Yes, these are both A's. This is an A. The race of 69 was great with an A.
We unfortunately for Villanova fans, we saw the 6.3%.
This was an F.
Yeah. Tonight, as Villanova up by 4 in the final minute, choke it all away. How about this, Tate? RJ Cole takes a charge. RJ Cole wears number 2. Takes a charge.
This is Tuesday.
On Colin Gillespie, who wears number 2. It is Tuesday. 2/22/22.
Yeah, spelled TWO.
Mind blown. Your thoughts on the final call? Let's start that.
Well, honestly, RJ Cole, the shot that he made prior was, the ball does not lie at the end of the day. There was like a 7-point swing with the technical and everything with Dan Hurley earlier in the game. And I felt like it all kind of cosmically came back at the end, and the good fortune was on the side of UConn. I'm not saying that it was a charge, though, because I don't think it was a charge. But I also think that it's college basketball. We know how makeup calls work, and I think that at that point the officials said to themselves, we look around, we've helped Villanova quite a bit in this game. Again, 7-point swing with the whole technical and all that stuff.
The
We'll
ghost
give them
of
this.
Dan Hurley put his hands on this
Yes.
game. Yeah,
Mhm.
the
A man who
refs
took a charge once upon a time as a
you know,
coach. So RJ Cole learned something.
Great point. We made this point. We were talking about the Tennessee-Arizona game a
Mhm.
while back, and it felt like the Tennessee fans just swallowed those refs alive, and the refs were
Yes.
terrible. And
That is what Tennessee does.
yeah.
I fear for any referee in Knoxville.
And I made the point that the college basketball refs are the worst. They are by far the worst.
They are the worst people.
Of all the officials in sports, college basketball refs are the worst. But I understand why they're the worst. It's because they're put in like the most insane environments where they're just like, honestly, I don't care that much, so I'm just going to make the call that gets me out of here alive.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that you're right. Maybe it helped. Maybe that like in that moment, the guys, the refs were like, you know what? We can still win this. We can still come out of here as the good guys.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and call that a charge. When it, like, my call, I don't think it was a block either, per se. I think it just should have been a no call, and Villanova takes it out. And
That's what we said live. We're like, just
a no
1.1, 1.3, whatever it would have been on the
Yeah.
clock. Ball goes out of bounds. Give them
See
one
what
last
happens.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, see what happens.
Let the game decide. That's the problem with the officials across the board in college basketball.
Let them play is what you're saying?
No.
That's very old Big East.
Yeah.
We need to change the blue blood, new blood to old Big East or new Big East. Who's
Race to 69.
yeah.
Who's going to win?
who's winning?
Maybe it doesn't factor into the Big East as much because of all the, the old Big East vibe.
Yeah.
The juice that was in there. This felt like, though, seriously, that UConn kind of got over a hurdle a little bit in the new Big East.
Yeah.
We talk about the old Big East a lot, but in the new Big East, they had to kind of let it be known that, hey, we're number 2 here, and we want to solidify.
Are you
that.
saying UConn's back?
I think they're there.
Yeah.
I think they're on.
You know what?
cusp.
You know what I am 100% sure of with UConn is that those fans
Are there?
love Dan Hurley.
Yes.
They love, like, at a time where at the end of the show when we were going to talk about Juwan Howard and coach behavior and like, is it good to be fired up, and is that leadership, or is that is that what we want out of our coaches, and do we demand more, and what about the kids and all that? I'll say this, we'll save that discussion for the end of the show, Tate. For right now, talking about Dan Hurley, UConn fans love that. I can't imagine there are too many UConn fans that are like, I wish our coach wasn't crazy, because they get absolutely fired up. He is. I mean, Nate Oates got tossed. What was that, last Thursday at the Alabama game, and Bama fans were cheering. That's what you do when your coach gets tossed. You clap it up. You say, "Good job, coach." It doesn't matter
Thank
what
you,
he
coach,
does.
for fighting the good fight.
Thank you for fighting the good fight. But the UConn fans tonight were on another level. Now, part of it was because
Alcohol.
Part of it was the circumstances in which he got tossed were bush league, to say the least.
Bush Light.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think it was indicative of like the relationship that these fans have with that man, which is like they where you and I might look at him as sort of a meme, sort of just a goofball at times,
A
a caricature,
Yeah.
whatever. The people in that arena and the people on his bench,
They believe.
they go nuts for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has the people. He has the pulse of the UConn fan base. And let's be honest, UConn basketball fans are some of the most diehard fans you'll ever meet in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And they are college basketball. And Dan Hurley at least takes that pride and that passion seriously, which is what they really wanted. We love Kevin Ollie, the player, but he was a more reserved type of guy. Hurley is more of the Bruce Pearl style, where you really feel like he's in the.
I don't think he's
with you.
Bruce. Okay.
As far as the energy,
Yeah.
not the execution.
Because Bruce
of the
Pearl
games.
is like, I'm fun.
Yeah.
And I bring the energy, and I'm the fun guy at the
Yeah.
party. Dan Hurley's like, I am absolutely not fun.
I will bite your head
I
off.
will bite your head off,
Yes.
but we might win. But he's not
UConn
like,
needs that bite. Like
But-
they need someone to step out, put their
Yeah.
neck out, and say, "We're UConn basketball."
but I think the difference too is like he's if you're squinting and you're not actually like watching Dan Hurley and his behavior, you might assume he's got like some Bob Knight in him, because he's just a crazy guy on the sideline, whatever. The difference being that Dan Hurley does like love his players.
yeah, he's
love
a
his
players coach.
Like
yeah.
he's crazy, but then he channels it all and like will chest bump dudes as they're going to timeouts and slap guys on the ass. And
Like you said, RJ Cole took that charge
Yes.
for Dan Hurley.
yes, and as he got
Yes.
tossed, he huddles up the guys and he gives them the
Fight
pep
for me,
talk,
baby.
fight for me, and then he turns to the ref and says, "You're an effing bum" on his way out. I do love. I'll say this too: the way the circumstances around his ejection were garbage. Like he complained about a call that was a bad call, first of all, but like still whatever. You get one
But
T.
the first technical was literally he turned it on the scorer's table and slammed it,
Yeah, but
which is nothing. That's nothing.
But I understand.
That's not much.
Yeah, and it's not.
I see the demonstration. The ref's like, this is too much.
That one's like, we can maybe argue whatever. But then he basically like laughs, high fives one of his guys, turns to the crowd and raises the crowd up, and then that's how he gets tossed.
Yeah.
And in a vacuum, that's ridiculous, and it's like why that's not a circumstance to toss a guy. But you and I both know that Dan Hurley is 100% the guy that like you tell him where the line is. He walks up to the line. He leans over the line. The second you turn, your head,
you're behind the line, but his nose and his body are leaning over the line.
And then
he's in your space.
And then he puts his hand over the line and doesn't touch the ground, but he puts it like a millimeter above the ground. He's like, "I'm not touching it. I'm not touch. I'm not." And then the ref's just pointing at him like, "I swear to God, if you touch it, I swear to God." He's like, "I'm not." And then the ref turns. It's the Key and Peele sketch of the humping, and then he touches it. He tees him up. He's like, "What? What did I do?"
Yeah.
So that part cracked me up.
Which the crowd loves.
The crowd loves it.
Exactly.
Because like again, like in a vacuum, Dan Hurley's like, this is BS. How was I tossed? But it's like we all know how you're tossed. Like what led to this point is years of behavior of like the refs, like whatever the benefit of the doubt is, he has the exact opposite.
You have no benefit.
And then, like
it is no doubt
all he was
what you were doing.
All he was doing was turning and pumping up the crowd, but like also the guy thought he was showing up. It was a bad call. Don't get me wrong. It's just funny that it's Dan Hurley.
It's funny because it's Dan. Jim asked us what he thought Dan Hurley was doing, during the rest of the game. And he probably was losing his mind throwing things.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
That's why we love the guy.
I would think, Jim, you wondered too, do you think he was texting assistant coaches and trying to coach from the...
Yeah, is he allowed to do that?
Bobby Valentine put on a mustache?
I think technically no, but...
No.
Texting from a burner? It's the mustache of... technology.
Yeah. Or he could have done what James Bouknight did. What is it with UConn, dude? James Bouknight was at the Xavier game and got tossed, and he just went up to the student section.
That's what he was saying.
Amazing.
Jim was saying that tonight. He was like, I wish Bouknight could have coached for
That'd be hilarious.
Should have come out of the student section.
Yeah.
Like a wrestler.
Bouknight's the head coach.
Oh my God, is that James Bouknight's music?
Yep.
Hilarious. You cut to the student. They win the game, and the UConn students spill onto the court, and Dan Hurley's in that group and just like running with them.
Going crazy. I had a couple UConn fans that we know reach out to me. They were upset about the court storming. They're like, we're UConn. We don't.
I think I know who one of the UConn.
Yeah,
I think I know who one of those UConn fans.
Very upset about this, and it is a good point. It's a fair point.
No, I'm pro storming. I'm pro storming under any circumstance. I don't care. If Duke beats Mercer by 30 and the Cameron Crazies want to storm the court.
Oh my God!
I mean, I'd make fun of them, but like my honest opinion, I don't care. It's like do whatever you want.
I'm working on a feature report right now, sidebar, about Duke pumping in crowd noise for the Crazies.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm gonna get you that for the fraud power ranking.
You know what I've been seeing a lot of. Speaking of the Crazies, this is classic us, by the way, that we're talking about. Great moment in UConn basketball history.
Quick aside,
all roads lead back to Duke. I've been seeing a swell of an idea that the Crazies aren't as crazy as they used to be. And like that's
facts. And I'm coming with the data. I'm coming with the data.
I look like that. That is like the Saturday Night Live of college basketball. It's like the back in my day, it was it sucks what happened to Saturday Night Live because like when I was coming of age, it was the best.
Oh,
I feel like that's what everybody thinks about.
Yeah, everyone likes the Crazies when they're in high school.
Yeah. When you're in high school and you're looking for a college show, they were crazier, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they were just the best.
What were we talking about?
UConn.
Storming the court.
Yeah.
Is that a So I'm pro court storm under any circumstances. I don't care. I would say if you are someone that takes this seriously and you're of UConn's ilk, and if you're like a UConn fan that like makes fun of everyone else when they storm the court, I would be a little upset about this one too.
I think UConn,
but I don't care. For me personally, do not care. Storm the court. Have fun.
I think
fun time.
It's the divide between Calhoun UConn fans. Because Calhoun fans, they would never storm the court.
Old Big East, the new Big East. Yeah. New Big East, UConn storms the court.
Mm-hmm.
Old Big East, UConn, this would never.
Which maybe this never happens again. Because if
Calhoun was tossed from this game, and he's in Dan Hurley's shoes, they start storming the court. He's running out of the tunnel, throwing. he's Juwan Howard, guys.
Trying to
get off the court. Get off the court. We don't do this here.
Coach K yelling "Shut up" at the kids.
Sunoco was awesome tonight.
Yeah, with 20-6.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was great.
I like UConn. When I look at both these teams tonight, and at one point I thought Villanova was going to win this game, and my talking point to you was going to be Villanova wins, but I think UConn's a better tournament team.
Yeah.
And I leave this game feeling better about UConn in the
Oh,
tournament.
you're drinking the Villanova Kool-Aid that I'm trying, the anti-Villanova Kool-Aid.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
I just think that UConn with Sonogo, if they play like they did tonight, they're a scrappy team. They're going to be a tough out. I feel like they could be a second weekend team.
Yeah.
So
the Big East, I still, like I'm not trying to rain on UConn's parade, but I don't.
you're not in.
I'm not in on really any Big East team in terms of like
Yeah.
a Final Four national title threat. But
Second weekend.
But I am. There's a lot of second weekend Big East teams.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have 6 teams in the Sweet 16,
And they're going
not
to
really.
talk themselves
But like they have
into it.
5 or
Yeah.
a lot of Sweet 16 teams, and they're like, we're the best conference, and this is proof.
Mhm.
And then they have 0 in the Final Four. That's what it feels like Big East is this year, which is okay. Great win for UConn.
I like
it was a great win for us, Providence. This helps. This helps
Providence
big time.
is the new.
What is where's the Big East standings now? What is the
They have to be up, right? 2 games.
No, they
1.5 games.
I don't know how to do the math. It's Providence is 12-2 and Villanova is 14-4. So Providence
oh my god.
Villanova has played
What?
4 more games than
This
Providence.
is the problem in college basketball. There's
Yeah.
too much math.
Is Providence going to get a 2021 Michigan Big Ten title? And like
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Providence to win the Big East, but if they win it in a manner that Michigan won if
doesn't really
Villanova, because they still have to go to Villanova. Villanova already won in the dunk, as we know, in the top 10 tilt.
Top 10 tilt.
And if the second top 10 tilt is in Philly, and Villanova beats the brakes off of them,
But Providence still wins the Big East.
and then
'cause the last night-
Villanova has more wins
Yeah.
and beats the hell out of Providence twice,
But Providence won the Big East.
but Providence wins the Big East.
I'm fine with
that.
that.
Puts me in a tough position though,
No,
because
Ed Cooley, Big East Coach of the Year.
that puts me in a tough position because I was very anti that for Michigan
Mhm.
last year, but I want to be pro Providence winning the Big East. They have to beat Villanova, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Maybe they do. Maybe they shock us. Maybe they
Nice.
earn that Big East title, and we all
Yeah.
say Ed Cooley, maybe National Coach of the Year, or at least in the conversation.
At
That's
least
that's what you do now.
Put 'em in the
Just Put them in the conversation.
Yeah, Providence though. Providence has their final 3 games are Xavier at home.
Win, hopefully.
Okay.
I don't know. Xavier's scrappy, so not a guarantee.
They won by 3 the first time they played
Yeah.
Xavier. In Cincinnati, obviously. Creighton at home.
Creighton's tough. Creighton's. I don't know.
Dude, this is like
this
this
is
is
Big
Providence's
East.
MO. Their last 3 games, Butler overtime. I didn't really watch that, but I was following along on Twitter that like Providence was dead in the water in Indy in Hinkle Fieldhouse, and then beat Butler in overtime. The game before that was a Villanova game that they let slip through their fingers. The game before that was the DePaul game where they were down at home and they had to claw back to force overtime and then
Yeah.
won that. The game before that was Georgetown. So anyway, their last 3, this has been the Providence story the whole time. So if you're looking ahead to the Providence schedule and you're saying win or loss or what, I don't know. You haven't been paying attention to.
Yeah, you're not paying attention.
Because who the hell knows what's gonna happen with this team? But they might win the Big East.
But the luck plays a factor.
Yeah.
We believe in the luck or the magic or whatever the Friars are up to. We like that.
Yeah. So you believe in UConn if you're picking a Big East team, a single Big East team to put all your chips on as a final. If I tell you I'm from the future and there was one Big East team that made the Final Four,
UConn.
you like UConn. Are we sure we're not just doing the thing we did last year with UConn, which is just like
I think last year was more of a fluke than this year because I think they have what you need, which is a post presence.
yeah.
I like Sonogo. I think he can take them to Sweet 16, and if they have the right,
And RJ Cole be that guy.
I think maybe tonight was a big sign for me. I think he can play winning basketball.
Yeah.
He gets it. He's been there so long. At this point, he knows what the right play is. Not to say he's going to make the right play, because that's a different conversation. But he at least knows what the right play is.
When he makes the wrong play, he'll tap his chest
And
be
say,
like,
"I know, I know that I screwed that
He'll
up."
just be like, I got it.
And Dan Hurley's like,
Oh.
"God, come on, RJ." That whole moment.
All right. That's
Which
why,
makes
that's
me
why you
believe
believe in
that.
UConn.
Yeah, that's why I believe in that.
My God, and I think that brings me full circle to where I'm at with the Big East and why.
Weekend 2.
If we were off air, I would say my answer is Villanova. If
Yeah.
I actually had to put money on it, I would still say.
I mean,
Villanova,
I think
but
that is the right answer, probably. But I'm trying to spice it up.
I'll spice it up and say Providence because I'll just buy into. I'll just buy into the luck, dude.
I'll say this: if Ed Cooley does go on a run with this, say they goes to the Elite Eight or whatever, Ed Cooley's going to be a name that Louisville, right, will probably talk to, or Maryland will probably talk to, and if
Michigan again,
what if Georgetown? What if Georgetown makes a change?
Yep,
that could be interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
Ed Cooley stays in the Big East, but he can't go to Georgetown.
What if he did though?
Yeah,
that'd be fun. I'm just saying, Ed Cooley, hot name, Ed Cooley.
Providence, I see their path to the final. They're the Houston. They're Houston last year.
Like, we can't believe this.
Yeah,
but it did work.
Yeah.
It just fell in their favor.
Yeah, that's So I'll pick Providence, but the answer's still Villanova. For being honest with ourselves. What else? What else happened tonight? Iowa beat the hell out of Michigan State. We have, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we have been doubters of Michigan State for most of the season, have we not? I think there was there was a period
ever
of time
since we broke the scoop that they were not going to be able to play Michigan.
Right.
Due to COVID.
Michigan State and Villanova both have been teams that I have not loved. I wouldn't say they're frauds, but I'm just I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. I keep trying to see it. I'm not seeing it. And there were moments with both teams, and there still might be a moment with Villanova. Because I'm slowly realizing that Villanova is actually good. I just don't really love watching them play. But there's a moment with Michigan State this season where I was like, I could be wrong, but I just gotta write this out. I'm in too deep.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a talent issue. I really do. The team has zero identity. You watch if they were wearing different jerseys, they were wearing blank jerseys. You had to guess what team is this? They have no hallmarks of a Michigan State team whatsoever. I think the biggest problem is probably that Max Christie was supposed to be awesome,
better than he is,
and he's not, and that's okay because it's he's a
freshman. It's a lot.
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
More often than not, freshmen come into college basketball and they're not the best player on the team, which is why the ones who are stand out to us so much.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you're relying on guys like Malik Hall and Gabe Brown, and that's where they found themselves. Of you guys have to save us. The only way we're going to win games is if Malik Hall balls out for us, and you're that's that's going to beat some teams in the Big Ten. Is that a Final Four Michigan State team? So my point is, if you're someone who talk yourself into Izzo every March, and you say it doesn't matter what Tom Izzo has, he can scrap
January,
fine.
February Izzo.
I mean, I'm sure when it happens, I'm gonna have my words thrown back in my face. But I don't see the hallmarks of the other Final Four Michigan State teams that I've seen through the years, where they might not have the talent, but God damn it, they
play hard.
Play hard, and they play good defense, and they dominate the boards, and all this. This team doesn't do that, and they also don't have great talent.
I think they may have peaked already.
Yeah,
that's my biggest.
Or is that what Tom Izzo wants us to do?
I know that's my problem with Tom Izzo is that he always seems to have a puncher's chance, especially when it comes to March. So it's hard to, like you said, can be thrown directly back in your face. But I don't even know what seed Michigan State is right now. What, a 5 seed, 6 seed?
They're probably, my gut tells me they're a 6 or a 7.
Okay, so
is how I feel. I don't know, but I'm not a
7 seed. Because
I'm not a Q guy though. We know this. I don't know what their Q.
We're going to talk about that in a little while.
I don't know, but my gut, my eye test.
Yeah.
I
5, 6, 7
say they're
range.
more 6 or 7.
Yeah.
5, but yeah. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm right there with you. And I don't think that they're a team to believe in, but I like Iowa.
I was going to say, how good is Iowa?
Yeah, I think they're good.
Because they smoked the Buckeyes in Columbus. These are the last 2 games. They smoked the Buckeyes and smoked Michigan State.
They have the guard, Bohannon, this guy who, we were talking about RJ Cole. Jordan Bohannon knows what the right play is, so we get to late game situations in March. He knows what to do. They have a legit star on their team. I'm just not sure how far. I don't think they're a Final Four team. I think they're a second weekend team.
For me, it's hard to shake what happened to them last year.
Yes, which was getting exposed.
Yeah, that was the most. That was the most obvious disparity in athleticism I've ever seen on a.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me when LSU played Duke in 07. You know, where it was just oh wow, this is a different level, and these
bad matchup.
Yeah,
bad matchup. So I guess for me, for Iowa going into this NCAA tournament, the question I would then have is, what have we done Iowa
to address
this.
Mm-hmm.
Which the college basketball is not the NBA, so you can't just like sign free agents and that, but it kind of is, kind of in the transfer
Portal. Yeah.
Do you watch this Iowa team and say to yourself they are markedly more athletic and dynamic? And no, of course not. And if they played like Oregon team from last year, they could match up better with them.
If they played USC in the tournament, USC I think would really give them problems.
I think the one difference is instead of funneling the ball, trying to get it to Luka Garza and Joe Wieskamp, you're giving it to Keegan Murray, who is that guy and can be that guy. And that's a good spot to be in if you're Iowa. If you're an Iowa fan talking yourself into this.
Yeah.
Because Keegan Murray can go against anybody, but yeah, as a team, I don't know.
I think they're overachieving.
That's why that's why they're an interesting team to me because they're definitely.
I think he obviously is going to go to the NBA draft, but if he did come back, then I would be like if it was next year, and Murray came back, I'm like they're a title favorite type team because he's at that level at that point. You know what I mean?
Bohannon's back for an 8th year in this scenario, or
yeah, he's back. He's back. Somehow he's back. They need an athletic guard, really, like a point guard that can really, be.
That's what every team in college basketball, and
true.
I think that's what this season has been. Why the tournament's going to be so fun, I think, is that there aren't a ton of great point guards in college basketball, and that is usually
that's good for RJ Cole.
Yeah, that's usually the engine that makes these teams go. And when we look at national title teams, it's usually there's a guard on the team that's like, I got this. Just give the ball. And not necessarily the scorer or even the assist guy. It's just like a guy that you trust. And
Severe Wheeler
for
Kentucky.
Yes.
Like there are a lot of guys like that.
But there aren't a ton of, who's like the top crop, like the Tiger Campbells and Nimhards and
I was gonna say my 1A, 1B. I think Nimhard's probably number 1 right now, and then Tiger Campbell. As far as like guy that can do exactly what you want from that position.
Yeah.
Traditional.
Like they're all good play, but like you're talking about the history of the sport. Like that's not a crop that you're stacking up against some of the guys we've had in the past. So that's gonna make for an interesting tournament because what I just said. I don't need to say it again. What else happened tonight? Is that Arkansas got a good win at Florida. I want to shout out Arkansas real quick. I know we do shout outs at the end of the show, but Arkansas's rolling, man. 12-1 in their last 13. Their one loss was the at Bama when JD Note was like a little too much heat check.
Yeah, he was like
understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
Understandable. Florida, it might not move the needle for a lot of people. Arkansas winning at Florida, but Florida just beat Auburn. Tate, we know that.
Florida's on the bubble.
Florida's on the bubble, and they're fighting for their in-state tournament life. And I think Florida is actually like they're not going to make the tournament, but like Florida, if Arkansas loses to Florida, that would have been a bad loss for Arkansas. But those of us in the know that Florida's got some talent. Colin Castleton's
I like Castleton,
awesome. Yeah. Florida to me is like not that bad of a team. They don't deserve to be in the tournament.
SEC tournament team.
This is gonna sound snarky because I don't love Florida because they stole a national championship from me.
They cheated.
They
all came back.
Brought back 5 stars.
That's an unwritten rule. We're going to talk about unwritten rules. That's an unwritten rule.
Bad should have punched Billy Donovan or swiped that or whatever. I don't love Florida, so this is gonna sound like a joke, but I genuinely mean this. They are my favorite to win the NIT. I think they're my favorite to win the NIT.
Yeah,
I really think so. I think they got a great team that can win the NIT this year.
Mine's Memphis.
I'm not joking.
I'm going back.
If I was gambling on the NIT, I think I'd put money on Florida to win it. But,
back to back. Memphis.
Anyway, so this was like a sneaky trap game. Good win for Arkansas. I just wanted to shout them out. JD Note with a big dagger at the end, and Jalen Williams was in foul trouble all game, and so it was a sneaky win for Arkansas.
And also Musselman's back on the Titus and Tate bandwagon.
Is he?
Yeah, he was.
We need to have Must. Must should. I would. This is a great bit. Must. I know you're listening, or your people are going to get this to you somehow. I would love. I would love Must's power rankings of media outlets that he trusts at the time.
That'd be great.
And I don't need us to be one. I would love for us to, but he needs to motivate us. He needs to like flip it on us and just be like, number one is
here are my power rankings.
Here are my power rankings this week. Number one, CBS guys.
McIntyre, J-Mac.
Number one, J-Mac. Number two, the CB Parrish and Norlander. Love them. 3, Field of 68.
Yeah.
4, the Barstool dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Love what they got going on there. 5, Titus. And then we see that and we're like, all right, we got to get better.
Yeah. How do we step our game up, Coach? What do you want to hear?
Coach,
what takes do you want to hear? Yeah, that was the big news
but-
of the night, though. I mean, UConn is the biggest news. Though.
It is the biggest news. Arkansas, though, I was going to say this is playing some great defense as of late, and I want to shout them out because they're a sneaky team in terms of the
second weekend team.
Guard play plus defense. You know I believe in that, Tate. And
Yeah.
JD Note is that guy. And if they're playing defense like they've been playing as of late, it's interesting.
And
It's
Musselman,
almost-
when he has
starts
a
to get
meme,
interesting.
when he has an identity, like with the sling this year,
Yeah.
he likes
And-
to roll.
And listen, I understand there's some Arkansas fans listening to this or watching this right now that are saying, aren't you the same guy
Yeah.
that in December
Yes.
said you're out with Arkansas this year?
Yes.
And you're just like, that's okay. They're just not that good. We don't need to talk. Like, kind of what I'm doing with Villanova and Michigan State. Aren't you that same guy? And yeah, I am. That was the past. This is the present.
It's also like your play can change my opinion.
That's true.
That is the
Yeah.
biggest,
That's a good
problem in all of media and everything. Everyone wants their opinions to actually outweigh the reality of the. I hope that Arkansas plays great.
And I like
you know what I mean?
Arkansas. Yeah, that's I said that
That's
every
what I'm
time.
saying. I like
Every time I was saying bad things about Arkansas, I was saying,
I
and
like
I
the guy.
like them. I just
That's-
didn't think they were that good, and now they're that good.
and
Uh,
they've played their way into being that good.
Let's do King of the Mountain presented by Coors Light before we talk about Juwan Howard. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Fine.
that's
Take
perfect.
a deep breath. Collect your thoughts on the King of the Mountain presented by Coors Light. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light and the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/TNT. Please celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? You usually go first.
I
Or
can
is
go
it- is
first.
it
Mine
tradition?
is pretty
Okay.
straight to the point. My King of the Mountain, the number one ruling authority in college basketball is the algorithm.
Wait, what?
Yes, the numbers.
Which one?
The algorithm, the net, the quads, the computers.
Don Cheadle in Space
Condoleezza
Jam 2?
Rice.
Is this Don Cheadle in Space
Yes,
Jam 2? Is that-
algae, algae rhythm is what we're dealing with. And honestly, I feel like I'm listening to the Quad City Times, and I'm not even in Davenport, Iowa. I had to figure out what Quad City was, but it's Davenport, Iowa.
Wait, what?
They're actually Quad City. That's
The Quad City DJs?
No, they are also a quads. There's a lot of quads, and who would have thought that there were this many quads out there? And they rule college basketball. Hence why they're the king of the mountain. I have
You're
been
talking about the Quad City DJs.
no in Davenport, Iowa. They are known as Quad City, which I assume this is where all of the computers and the metrics are coming. I try to figure out where it's coming from, and
You've lost me already. Okay, Davenport, Iowa is
Yes,
Quad
Quad
City. Why?
That's just what they call themselves.
That's where the algorithm is based?
And that's where I assume the algorithm is, because in college basketball, if you get online or talk to anyone about resumes right now, all you hear is quad 1, quad 4, quad 2. This was a quad 3 win, but now it's quad 2.
Quad Green, 30-point
Quad
game.
Green had 30 points. He
for John
is the
Calipari.
chosen one. He was promised. And all that to say, and the reason they were the king of my mountain is because the numbers, the quads, have all come together and they have an agenda. And not only did they have the agenda, they have a ruling hand in the outcome, so they suspect. Not the committee cares about any of these quads, yet they're yelling.
Where are you going with this?
I'm going to that the king of the mountain is the numbers. The numbers have won. The numbers have lied to many.
Can I
but
offer
the
my
numbers,
theory?
The numbers have won. Shout out to Davenport, Iowa, aka Quad City.
Can I offer my
Yeah.
my thoughts on where this is coming from?
Yeah, where's it coming
Does it have
from?
anything to do with Carolina being on the bubble? And you're
It's
you're
coming.
lost in the weeds of
It's
blind
coming.
resumes.
I first of all, I hate the bubble.
Can we get blind resumes? Like when,
There's no what happened to blind
I haven't seen a
resumes
blind
in
resume.
years, and all I hear is quads.
That's
That's what I'm
too
saying.
much quads.
The
We
ru-
need more blind
The
resumes.
ruling hand, the guiding hand, the
'Cause- and,
quads.
this is the problem too. With if we even get blind resumes in 2022, it's
Yes.
going to be a lot of like this team has 4 quad 1 wins.
Yes,
This
1
team-
and 7 quad 1.
This is
wins.
their net ranking. Get that
Yes.
out of here.
Yes.
We got to bring back the. All right, this is a 21 and 10 team that has
To explain how dumb this is, on Saturday morning, this past Saturday, I woke up. North Carolina had 0 quad 1 wins. 0. Sunday morning, I woke up. North Carolina had 2 quad 1 wins.
they didn't play.
No, they
They
did
did-
play.
they
They
beat-
beat Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I woke up on Sunday at 2 quad 1 wins. Juwan Howard swipes at someone. I wake up on Monday morning. North Carolina has 1 quad bowl win. I don't know what Davenport, Iowa knows. I don't know what the quads know. But all I know is that the numbers are changing too much, and we cannot. This cannot be the guiding hand.
I've identified the problem, Jim. It's that Tate's enemy right now doesn't have a face.
Yes,
it's like the algorithm and the quads, and you can't make sense of
Don
it. So
Cheadle is basically the only thing I have in my mind as to who is in Davenport, Iowa, doing this.
That's why it's confusing. If you know,
give me Coach K. If Coach K was doing this. Or even if
Condoleezza Rice was sat down and was like interviewing with CBS and was like, North Carolina is not in the tournament.
Here's why.
Mm-hmm. That feels familiar to you because then you can be like, what does Condoleezza Rice know? And like you can get upset about
what is her bias?
Yes. Let me take that and dig into it. The algorithm and the quads, you can't make sense of it. You can't suss it all out. So you're just like, there's no one you can point to.
I've asked this, whenever I did, calculus or anything, my teacher would say,
show your work.
Show your work. And all I ask for the quads is to show me your work, give me the numbers, release the tapes, and then I'll get off it. King of the mountain, the
algorithms.
Yes.
All right. Shout out to the algorithms. I went with a more straightforward. I went with Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah, coach of the year.
Who is he is the runaway national coach of the year. You said there are other guys in the conversation. Would you like to go through them quickly so we can just throw them in the conversation, then we never have to talk about them again?
I mean, the only one I care about is Ed Cooley. So Ed
Cooley belongs in the conversation. I think Mark Adams certainly belongs in the conversation.
Yep, Texas Tech.
I think Steve Forbes belongs in the conversation.
Sure.
I think Bruce Pearl, even though I'm not a fan, belongs in the conversation.
Yeah, sure.
An unbiased
Coach
journalist.
K belongs in the conversation.
Coach K definitely belongs in the conversation.
I've seen a lot of people recently push Coach K as not anyone. It was like radio people in North Carolina. Coach K, Coach of the Year in the ACC.
What about? Well, duh.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's Coach of the Year. Kelvin Sampson's another one. I think deserves a shout out for.
Yeah, a lot of injuries they dealt with.
Yeah. He hit a lot of.
Maybe even Scott Drew.
Scott Drew.
I'd throw him in there.
We hit every coach. We got the whole top 25. What if Coach K goes to the Lakers? I just thought about that.
Oh yeah, that's the move.
What if that fire Frank Vogel, hire Coach K? I don't know, something to think about. But Tommy Lloyd's going to win. I'm going to tell you why. Arizona is the number 2 team in the country right now.
Yes. Jumped Auburn.
It is Tuesday. It's
Tuesday.
They are basically the exact same team as last year. They lost James Akinjo, who is maybe-ish the best player on Baylor.
Yeah.
If not, he's in the conversation.
He's in the conversation. He's 1A, 1B.
Yeah. He was the best player on Arizona last year. They lose their best player. They bring in a bunch of bench guys, which I don't mean to diminish them because they do have good bench players. So I'm not like dismissing that part of it, and they are integral to how good they are. But it's just a highlight that like all 5 starters on Arizona were on the team last year. This was a group that Sean Miller had. Granted, Kerr Kriisa was not cleared to play until February, but point stands. Sean Miller had this team. They went 17-9. Tate, they missed the tournament because of a self-imposed ban. I think they probably would have made the tournament, but it was not a team that you watched last year and was like, this is.
It wasn't inspiring.
It was not an inspiring team. Tommy Lloyd has it's not only that he's figured out that he's on the cusp of winning the Pac-12 in his first year, which is not unheard of. It's not unprecedented for a guy to fill in for a fired coach and win a major conference, but it's noteworthy. When it happens, it's like, damn, that's
especially
really hard
coming
to do.
off a UCLA Final Four.
Yes, and UCLA was arguably the best team in the country.
They were the kings of the conference.
Yeah. So for him to basically take the same core, he's now he hasn't clinched the Pac-12. They're about a week away, I'd say. I think like next Tuesday they play USC. That's kind of assuming they win their games before then. They can clinch it next Tuesday. I don't know. It's not that he's just doing that. It's how he's done it. It's that when you watch it, Arizona to me has become the most fun team in the country to watch. I felt that way for most of the season.
Yeah.
I watching Kerr Kriisa again against Oregon on Saturday night, hits the big shot with a minute and a half left. After the game, he takes off his wrist tape, throws it to Jay Billis. Leading up to the game, someone asked him. I saw a clip. Someone asked him about College Game Day being there, and he was like, "I have no idea. I had no idea what that was. But it seems pretty cool."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm excited."
His whole attitude. I wouldn't fault anybody for hating him, because he checks all the boxes of a guy in college basketball that people would hate. I don't hate him. I love him. I love him so much.
Yeah.
And, watching him play with that confidence, it's like having him in the fold all season and having Tommy Lloyd like encourage that. All these dudes across the board, like Mathurin has taken a massive jump this year. Massive jump. Dalen Terry's a guy that was like he's still technically like a role dude, but last year he was just like really a role dude, and this year he's like
stepped up
in the conversation for actually the best player on the team. He's definitely the fan favorite. I think Arizona fans go nuts for that.
I mean, it's amazing to have Kerr and Terry. We've talked about that on the back of their jerseys, and Tommy Lloyd just got Arizona basketball.
Yeah.
And it's always good when whoever the coach is seems to have a respect and a reverence for what it is and also knows how to run it the right way.
Koloko has turned into one of the best defenders in the if not for Walker Kessler, we might be arguing that he is the best defender in the country. And that
would be a great
the way he's
matchup
just
in
like
March.
instilled confidence in all these dudes and made them so fun to watch across the board. He's my king of the mountain because he has the most, not only the most fun team in the country, but he might have the best team in the country. And he has a team that's probably going to win the Pac-12. What could possibly go wrong? So there you go. That's my pick.
And they're not cursed anymore because I think the Sean Miller, whatever that was, where it just felt like they had a ceiling. It now feels like Arizona could win a title. You know what I mean? Like when Sean was there, even when DeAndre Ayton, who's obviously the number one pick, it felt like there's no way they're actually going to win anything.
There's a funk around the.
There's just something off here. I don't know what it was. I don't think I'm not blaming Sean. I just whatever it was there. We all knew it was there. Tommy Lloyd, it was a breath of fresh air, and it's real, and it's gotten so good, and he's done so well that people are now looking back and saying, was this guy really like the engine of Gonzaga?
Yeah. What if?
And not like that's not.
What has
true,
Gonzaga
obviously,
done since he's been gone?
Exactly.
What's that?
Number one
They're
team in
number
the country.
They're number one.
Hey, but it sounds good because he
hold on.
immediately changed the culture.
They didn't lose a game last year until the national championship.
Yeah.
They've lost 2 already.
Oh yeah, without Tommy Lloyd.
Without Tommy Lloyd, makes you think. Was he the guy?
He would have stopped Alabama.
All right, should we talk about Juwan Howard?
Yeah, let's do it.
What is there to talk about? I guess that hasn't already been said a million times.
I think what we have to say. What's the one thing that hasn't been said? The melee in Madison. That is the one thing that has not been said.
Throws it up in caps.
Yeah,
Is that where we're going with the melee? What about Madison melee?
No,
that sounds like a
girl that
that
went.
sounds
to
like a porn
Wisconsin.
star.
Yeah.
Madison melee. It does sound- the melee in Madison makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
What's your take? Who's wrong? Who's the one person that's most at fault? Who?
Man, this is like this is the after school version of this, but like we're all losers in this situation. You know what I mean? We really are.
So I'll help you out. I'll walk through my we'll get to my real thoughts in a second, but I'll just walk through like the timeline for me because I was at the Daytona 500 with my father all weekend. We were there basically at the track for every single day. I don't even remember what happened on Sunday, right?
Yes.
The game was on Sunday. So yeah, the Daytona 500 is going on. It just started. I'm getting spotty service at the track because you go to a sporting event with a lot of people, it jams the signals, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden a text comes through from you and it just says R.I.P. Juwan Howard. And I think it was praying hands emoji or something. Where you're like, praying for you, buddy, or I hope this works out. I was like,
I like the guy.
Yeah, and I like him. Yeah. So I get that. I'm like, what the hell is Tate talking about? And I get online and I see, and I initially just saw the finger in the face, like the guard handshake, the elbow grab, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Juwan Howard kind of grabbed his shirt, put a finger in his face, and like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I saw like that part of it because again,
The
like
first part.
the video's not loading fully, and it's I'm seeing the wheel spinning and to load and all that, and I was like that's pretty bad. Like that's pretty. Like he put his finger in his face. I'm sure we're gonna talk about it on the show. That seems pretty. Like. But I don't think that's, R.I.P. worthy. That seems to be a bit of an exaggeration. And then, like, 10 minutes later, more texts start coming through from, like, other people that are like, oh, my God, Juwan Howard. And I'm like, are we talking about the same thing? So then I watched the video, and my initial reaction was he's getting fired. I'm not saying what I think should have happened. I'm telling you my initial reaction. Like, I was like, oh, my God, Tate's right. R.I.P. Juwan Howard. He's going to be fired.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is absolutely crazy. And what I took what became interesting to me as the days, this is a full, what are we, over 48 hours now from, we are literally the last people to chime in on this. What became interesting to me as it started to unfold was just the not necessarily the downplaying, but just kind of the muddying of the waters of everything.
Yeah.
Where my initial reaction was like, we can discuss like how we got there and who was at fault and should Greg Gard have called timeout, just grabbed him on the whatever. But let's start at a point where the head basketball coach of the Michigan Wolverines throwing hands at an assistant coach.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. That does not happen all the time. This is not a regular occurrence. Do not point to like other events that have happened in college basketball history. And like you see people like going back to like John Chaney saying, I'll kill you to, or like, you know, going all the way back to like these. This to me was like semi unprecedented. This was like blew my mind. Like this does not happen.
Yeah.
However we got here, this does not happen. So let's like start. That's why my mind immediately went to like he's getting fired because this is not a normal occurrence.
Of course.
Even the thing that happened last year with Maryland and Mark Turgeon when, funny enough, I think the rumor the Maryland people said he supposedly said I'll kill you to Mark Turgeon as well. The John Chaney line. Even like that happened, it still had like a sense of, you know, this is just jawing. There's just two dudes jawing at each other. The moment it gets like actually physical, that is to me unprecedented. Now we can start there and then discuss like who's at fault, how we got here, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what was insane to me was that like we couldn't even start there. Like it felt like the conversation, and this is I guess an indictment of Twitter and like why you never go online when something happens. But I was like blown away at people like just shrugging it off as like, are we sure this is even that big of a deal?
Yeah.
I don't know. That like shocked me that people weren't shocked, I guess. That like, of course, you touch a guy, he's going to throw it. I'm like, the head coach of Michigan?
Yeah.
Punching a dude?
Well, and
that's slapping a dude or whatever.
Swiping, whatever you want to call it. I think that was that's why, you know, when I saw it, I was watching the game and my dad was watching the game. And my dad is a coach, and my dad texted me, like, you know, Juwan Howard is heated, you know, so we're watching the end of this game. Guard calls a timeout. I see how heated he is. What guard did calling that timeout is Bush League, you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching this live. I understand the frustration. And when it happens live, like, I literally, when I saw Juwan Howard, I was like, he's going to just blow by him, you know? We've seen Jamie Dixon is the king of the blow by. Like when you've seen, like I remember one time Roy Williams.
Tom Crean's a good blow by guy.
Good blow by guy.
Great blow
Roy
by
stopped Jamie Dixon one time, and I thought Jamie Dixon was going to bite his head off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is a classic coach.
Rick
move.
Barnes does the blow by to Roy too, right?
Yeah, a lot of blow by guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
top 5 blow by guy. Go.
It's a move. Juwan was on the path of a blow by, and the rules of engagement. You mentioned John Chaney. What are the rules of engagement? You can say anything to me.
Yes.
You can call me anything in the book.
Yes.
And I can call, and vice versa. We can say anything.
Yes.
But as soon as somebody touches somebody,
Don't touch me, bro.
All bets are off.
Right.
And when Greg Gard grabs him,
but
Juwan Howard immediately went to school. This is like, you know, grade yard behavior, right? This is, and what you just said is 100% correct. You can have that mentality, and I get it. It's like, you touch me, all bets are off. You put your hands on me, we're having a different conversation. But at the same time, you're a Michigan man.
Yes.
Quotes. You're a Michigan man. You're a leader of young men. Greg Gard, you're also a leader of young men. You like having your assistant coach run up and then a guy doing a suck it. You know what I mean? That's not leadership. You know what I mean? Like both of these guys are not doing what it's supposed to be, which is lead and set an example. And that was like the worst part about all of this. And then all of the aftermath, as you said, trying to push it aside because we like Juwan Howard. I like Juwan Howard too. I get it. We don't want to, you know, have a guy that's such a great ambassador for college basketball have this on his record, da. But it also doesn't address the problem of the leadership void. Someone has to be the bigger man here.
Yeah.
In the press conference, the worst part to me was the press conference after the fact.
Dude.
To be honest with you.
Oh my God. Who let him up there?
That was not leadership.
Why would
That's not leadership.
God.
That's not leadership. And Greg Gard, that's not leadership.
And Juwan Howard's apology to all the Michigan people. No, he apologized to one person at Wisconsin, and it was Joel Krabenoff. He misspelled Joe Krabenoff's name.
But
that's tough.
At the end of the day, that guy, Krabenoff or whatever, like, you know how it works. Like, managers talk to managers. You know, everybody talks to everyone at their level. You know, strength guy talks to strength guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's punching up his weight, which I think that's why Juwan snapped, honestly, on him. Because he was he's already snapped. But then, like, there's someone who you're like, it was just like a lot of just moments that you're just like, wow, that's out of line. But then the reaction is you can't defend it.
You can't do that.
You cannot, like,
that's where I was
in the right. but the
Yes.
action was so far from the right that now all of that is you throw it out.
That's exactly where
know?
I arrived with it. I was like, I will listen to any argument as to like how he got here and how he felt like, you know, the guard was aggressive, which
Yeah.
and for the guard part of it, I think if you had a chance to freeze time and everyone just freezes and you pull Greg Gard aside and you're like, hey, Greg, just FYI, you're about to shake hands with Juwan Howard. He's not like he's not like rolling his eye. When you called timeout, he wasn't just like, come on, man. You know, like,
Yeah.
all shucks. This man is pissed. This man is heated.
Yeah.
He hates you. FYI. Okay,
Yeah.
play. I don't think Greg Gard would touch him. I think
Yeah.
Greg Gard thought he was walking into a situation where John was like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? And then Greg Gard's be like, listen, man. And like, I think that's how he saw it play out in his head was like, come on, bro.
Yeah. No,
Really what was playing out was like Juwan Howard was piping mad. But
he
matter
was
how,
already over the line.
Yes.
And then his suit, like all he needed, he lit the final match and boom.
But however you got there, you
can't
simply you can't do that.
And
It's inexcusable.
If I was Juwan Howard, like if I was his team of people, I would have a conversation with him and say, you should get ahead of this. You should go back to the NBA because that administration, the academic side of Michigan,
Great point.
they're gonna find something on him.
Great
and
point.
Get rid of him.
When
Which is unfortunate because I like Juwan Howard a lot, but I think that he needs to get ahead of it. That's all I'm saying.
I actually kind of agree with you because when something like this happens, your mind immediately goes to the sports part of it and the you know, like what will the athletic director do? And
He
what do
doesn't
the
care.
boosters think?
Yeah,
What do
I don't care.
But Michigan is a place that prides itself as like a public Ivy level school. And
Yeah.
when you have this guy is one of
A
the
Michigan
faces,
man.
he's a Michigan man
Yeah.
alongside Jim Harbaugh. They have two Michigan men as their head coaches. And you represent something at a higher level. I don't think he's gonna live this down. I really don't. And that might be the Buckeye in me talking that like I know Ohio State fans aren't gonna let him live it down.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know how much that matters to Juwan Howard and the University of Michigan. That's their prerogative, and they can decide. But I don't see a world like if Juwan Howard's coaching in Michigan in 10 years, he's going to come out, you know, to an opposing crowd. He's going to play at North Carolina for the first time since this happened, and Carolina fans are going to just have signs up about him punching people or you know slapping coaches.
Yeah.
Like I really do think that this is going to follow him forever. I do think it's that severe. And the people that are listening to this or watching this and rolling your eyes and you're like, that's dramatic. Again, this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
A coach of that caliber at that level does not do this. This is insane. This is crazy. So,
And at the NBA level, at the pro level, they don't have handshake lines for this reason. Because if Isaiah Thomas, let's for example, the most famous walk-off, if Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer are walking by the Bulls bench, and let's say Bill Cartwright grabs Isaiah's hand, Isaiah would have literally choked him.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's an understanding of that, which I think you're right. Maybe Greg Gard didn't understand, like in the heat of the battle.
Yes.
But that is why they don't have handshake lines at that level, and which is why I think that Juwan Howard might be more built for that. Which I've always thought he was more of an NBA coach than a college coach anyway, and I think he would agree with that. So maybe this is sometimes you have the things happen to you in life, and you're like, I needed something to kind of kick me into this course.
Yeah.
Maybe this is that.
Take a long, hard look at the mirror. And I mean, for what it's worth, like, is there any evidence that why should anyone believe that like moving forward, Juwan Howard is going to get better and calm down more? Like this wasn't an isolated incident either. So, again, whatever leads to these moments, even if Juwan Howard is in the right for which I don't think he is in this case. I want to make that very clear, by the way. Juwan Howard is 100% in the wrong.
Yeah.
Greg Gard actually, I don't think really did much anything. But even if you're someone who sees it at that point of view, the fact that he finds himself in these positions at more often than anyone. There's not a coach of high major college basketball that was slapping an opposing assistant coach. I'm kind of with you. Like if I'm Juwan Howard, I'm like, why this system, whatever this is?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it. I don't know if this is for me.
I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm built for this. That you have to carry a certain. As Tom Izzo, you saw him talking about it. You know what I mean? Like when you're supposed to be the grown up in the room at all times, and that's not always the case in a professional environment, right? I mean, sometimes the coach goes a little crazy.
That's the state of college sports today. Is that we can't fully define what it is. Is it amateur sports? Is it professional sports? Is it somewhere in between? There are people that believe especially old school dudes like Tom Izzo are this is an amateur enterprise, and the whole purpose of this, the whole reason we're playing basketball
To teach.
is to teach these kids,
Yeah.
which sounds hacky, and I understand, like, we make fun of Cal for calling him his kid, like, but, like, that's what these guys believe, is, like, this is why you're here. Then there's the new wave of coaches that are like, to hell with all that old model. We all know that's garbage. The name, image, likeness exists now. These kids are trying to get to the league. This is a professional setting. These are not kids. They're all 18 and older. Why are we calling them kids? They're professionals. Let's act like let's treat this like the NBA. And as long as there's that divide, I think you do see different things. And when you see something like this, you see guys like me who are more wired to be old school. Surprise, surprise to anybody that's listened to the show. I do long for like a coach that's like, my purpose here is to like mold the young men and be the leader and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Other people see it differently. And I think as long as that's the case in college sports, we're always going to have like debates when stuff like this happens, which that was the thing that stood out to me, was like, we couldn't even define what it was. Like it felt like the discussion around it was,
which is leadership.
It's crazy.
There's no leadership in college sports. There's no person that takes any accountability. Everything is somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is the I don't know where that comes from, but eventually someone has to take ownership and say, "Hey, I screwed up, you screw up, we all screw up." But at the end of the day, we have to set a good example, because that is the point. These are young people.
Right.
That are impressionable.
Which is
when you
why
act a certain way, they follow the behavior. Like, it's a real responsibility.
Again, not going to surprise anybody. I am firmly on the pro handshake line train, by the way, and I don't. That's insane to me too.
I think college sports should have a handshake line. I think pro sports shouldn't. I mean,
I
the
don't.
difference between the two.
I didn't understand how we have a system that has worked forever.
Yeah.
And Juwan Howard is there was a dust up with Michigan at Rutgers, when they lost to Rutgers for the first time ever. The system has worked, and now for whatever reason, again, I'm not saying I'm not pretending that there aren't other factors, but like for whatever reason, this keeps happening or it's happened more than once with Michigan. Why then do we destroy the entire system?
Yeah.
And why do we say the system's the problem and not like?
Because again, no one wants to take ownership of the blame.
Can I make the case for Greg Gard not being in the wrong at all, by the way?
Sure.
I want to do this because this leads to like the real point I want to make, which is that this all goes towards the Wisconsin walk-ons being thrown to the wolves. And I felt very passionate about this, that I was getting like PTSD watching the walk-ons being pressed by Michigan. I was like,
that was a little ridiculous.
So guard basically calls 2 timeouts in the final minute. One of them was a substitution timeout. So what I wanted, this is the exercise I want to do now. I was watching I've watched the last like 2 minutes trying to find the part that stood out to me as like, whoa, you can't do that. And I kept waiting for the part that Greg Gard did something where I was like, oh, come on, dude, you can't do that. And even the timeout wasn't bad, because I'm going to explain why. He calls the first timeout because he just does the substitution thing, which is totally normal. He goes like this. There's like an actual hand signal, and the refs start doing it too. They sub out all the starters. That one wasn't even really a timeout. No one congregates, whatever. And then so the walk-ons come in the game. Juwan Howard starts pressing. The one moment when there's 15 seconds left is like the one that everyone latched onto. But the first moment, the very first action that it wasn't all walk-ons. I think there was like 3 walk-ons and 2 guys that are just into the bench dudes. The first action was one of the walk-ons gets the ball across the half court line, and you look at the clock. There's a 2-second differential, and in some worlds, that very easily Greg Gard could have told his guys, let the shot clock go off. There'll be 2 seconds left. Let Michigan throw it in. That's game over. That's what it is. Other coaches are like, if there's enough time on the shot clock, get the shot up, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, the terms were dictated. One of the walk-ons tries to throw it past the other walk-on. Michigan's starting point guard, Devontae Jones, intercepts it, goes in and lays it in. And at that point, to me, if I'm a walk-on, this has happened to me before when I would come into games with a minute left and guys are going, you have starters like busting their ass against you. You're like, come on, bro. So like that was one thing that stood out, but I was like, whatever, it's an isolated incident. Then he makes the basket and they're pressing. And
which Juwan said wasn't a press, but it was definitely a press.
100% a press.
Yeah. They're
trapping. The dude Carter Higginbottom, the walk-on point guard for Wisconsin, is now in a position This man has played in 2 games since December 4th, Tate, for a grand total of 1 minute. How is that possible? Because he had a 0+ trillion.
Yeah.
Then another game he played in 1 minute. He's gotten like very, very little action. He's thrown into a situation where Michigan's starting point guard is now pressing him with 15 seconds left. He loses his shoe. The ball goes out of bounds. There's 4 seconds left. And I think what Greg Gard, I can let him speak for himself, but like what I was thinking as I was watching this is, of course you call timeout because your walk-ons are shitting their pants. Like these dudes don't get in the game ever. The other dude, Justin Taphorn, who was the guy who threw the first pass away.
Yeah.
He hadn't played in the game since Marquette on December 4th. He has not played in any game. 0 game. Got no action until that game. Now all of a sudden he's got starters pressing him. So I think Greg Gard was like, all right, I got these group of guys that have never practiced a press break because why would we practice a press break?
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 seconds to get the ball across the line. I don't want them to just, I don't want their only action to be turning it over every time they touch the ball and getting owned and getting roasted, That's how I saw it. And I was like, I commend that because I had flashbacks to the 2008 NIT. We were playing Dayton. I get in the game in the final minute. I catch the ball in the backcourt, and Dayton is pressing. And I was like, I am getting rid of this shit immediately. It was the same situation. We're up like 15. I was like, what are we doing pressing? And I would have loved it if Coach Mata called timeout. I would have gone to timeout, and I would have been like, thank God you did that because I want no part of this.
Yeah,
This is a nightmare situation.
Juwan was very frustrated from what had happened in the game. You know what I mean? Which is like the definition of being a bad sport.
Yeah, and when Gard called the timeout too, I noticed like Gard wasn't even. It wasn't like he was retaliating to Juwan pressing. It wasn't in like, oh, you're gonna press? Well, suck on this, bitch. I'm gonna call time. He was just like, I'm gonna call timeout because my walk-ons are in over their head, and I want to help them out a little bit.
Yeah, and that's just how Juwan took it. Yeah, I mean,
Juwan took it that way, and then it exploded. So anyway, that was my perspective, and I have, as is the case with literally everything in this world, everyone has a different point of view. But that's I kept watching it. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't really see anything that Greg Gard did wrong until the elbow grab, and even then, again, I would work off the assumption that Greg Gard thought Juwan was just kind of annoyed and not like piping hot mad.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would have suspected that it would escalate that quickly. In fact, I mean, even on the broadcast, they were trying to cut away to the golf tournament.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then
that was hilarious.
They were like, "Whoa,
that was hilarious."
Whoa, wait a second.
Whoa. They say Melee in Madison.
I think
is that a Jim Cunningham special?
I think that Jim. Someone had a sign that said Melee in Madison.
The other thing I thought after the dust settled, I thought, man, Silvio De Sousa. Sucks.
Poor guy, man. Picked up a chair
and set it down and got 12-game suspension.
Yeah.
Juwan Howard.
Swipes.
Threw some swipes. 5 games.
We got to figure out what to call it because it really is. It was like a face. I don't even know. It was like a smother. It was a smothering.
To that point of we can't even define what it is. I saw a clip of JJ Redick was talking about Zion. So like he was in the news, I guess, today, whatever you want to call it. So I click on something and it leads to a different clip of him and Stephen A. talking about the incident. The melee in Madison. And Stephen A. was like, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but he was like, let's start with, he goes, whether it was a punch, a slap, whatever you want to call it, we'll just say this because I think we can agree on this. It was a swing. Like he took a swing at a coach, and then JJ was like, "Was it a swing?" And I just started cackling. I was like, "That's where we're at with like everything."
Yeah, everything's debatable.
Are we even sure it was Juwan Howard?
Yeah.
Did he even touch? Yeah,
it was a strike.
That was so funny to me. But thoughts and prayers to Silvio De Sousa. And,
also, thoughts and prayers to the Brotherhood because JJ.
I know.
I mean, I could never imagine a Carolina guy going on national TV and calling out another Carolina player. But that's the difference between the Brotherhood and the family.
Carolina way.
No, the family.
The family, what we call them.
That's what Dean Smith.
Thoughts and prayers to I feel I feel bad for too is like the real Michigan men, the guy the Michigan when Urban Meyer was the coach at Ohio State and it was becoming increasingly clear that he wasn't the greatest human being.
Yeah.
And Ohio State was winning a lot of football games. I remember like just the internal struggle of like, this is cool that we're winning, but like the part of me that graduated from this university and has a ton of pride in this university.
Yeah.
God, I do not love that every time I meet someone on the street or I'm traveling somewhere, like, they find out I went to Ohio State and they're like, oh yeah, Urban Meyer. Yeah, you're the school that does,
Dirtbag
It
stuff.
sucks. Yeah, you're the dirtbag school. So
You're like, no, that's Arizona.
I mean that genuinely. I live that with Urban Meyer. We live that with the
Yeah.
tattoo gate. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of incidents with Ohio State. It sucks. You lived it with the
I've lived
the
it.
academic scandal.
I've
All that.
lived it.
I really do feel bad for the alums that are like, man, because I'm sure there are a lot of Michigan alums that are like, I don't want this man coaching our team anymore.
That's what I was
And I don't-
saying. He's
you
got to
know,
get out of there.
I don't think he should be fired. That's not my decision to make. Because the other point I'll say, and we can shut up and get to athletics. Nobody actually cares. The false equivalencies of like, if I did this in my job, I would be fired immediately. And if any other coach, none of that matters. It doesn't matter what would happen at your job. It doesn't matter if LeBron did this in a game, if he would be cut from the team or so. What matters is what Michigan wants to do with Juwan Howard. That's their decision. Like all of us, I guess you can kind of like think like if my coach did this, here's what I would want to have happen. But I don't think there is like a standard template for like how this should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's how it works. There's a lot of external factors. Like it's stupid, but he went to the Elite Eight last year, and he's still like early in his tenure at Michigan. That mattered.
Yeah.
If he'd been at Michigan for 12 years and missed the tournament more often than he made it, he's probably fired. But he hasn't, and like
Has a
that's-
number one
that's
recruiting class.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and the political part of it of like he's a former player of the most famous team they've ever had, and like if you fire him, what does that mean for the fallout of like There's a lot that goes into it, and that's Michigan's decision to make. And I'm sure there are some people that are like, I wish he wasn't our coach anymore, and those people I feel bad because that's a fight you're just not going to win. I guess.
Yeah, you're not going to win that.
You're not going to win it, and
Yeah.
that's an awful position to be in. To be like, I expect more out of our guy, but I can't say that because all of the Michigan fans in my if
Yeah.
you're like the one Michigan fan of the dissenting opinion, all your Michigan bros are texting you, and you're like, we got to defend our guy, and you're like, I don't know, man, do we?
Yeah.
That sucks to be that guy in the group.
It was the one time I felt good about Hubert Davis thanking John Calipari for kicking his ass.
One thing I'll say about Hubert Davis, he will 100% not swipe at anybody.
He's a good sport.
He's a great sport. Almost too good of a sport.
Yeah. I wish he was less of a good sport, but it works.
Hilarious. All right, let's wrap this up. Shout out to closeouts.
I want to shout out Michael Jordan for two reasons. One, the Daytona 500, the Michael Jordan racing team, 23 racing team, almost got it done at Daytona.
Almost did it.
Bubba Wallace finishes in second.
Almost.
I want to hear your stories about that, but I wanted to shout that out. And then also shout out to him for flying from Daytona up to Cleveland to be there for the NBA 75 anniversary little special that they did. And the reason why I had to shout him out was because Michael Jordan literally went there to play one-on-one against whoever wanted to play. And Michael Jordan is the best, in my opinion, and one of my favorite people because he's like a psycho in that sense. And he literally wants to compete at all times. He wanted to play one-on-one against Magic Johnson. He was feeling up every player that was young.
Literally
feeling them up to see if they were in shape.
Yeah.
To literally, he was like, who can I take on tonight? Giannis was the only person that came and met him, got his respect. He looked at him dead in the eye.
I saw him try to tackle Luka.
He was feeling him up. He was like, is he in shape?
What's that body fat percentage?
Yeah. He's like, exactly. He really wanted to play these guys, and I think he thinks he could beat them one-on-one.
That's
shout out to him.
That's the fix to the All-Star game. Or not the All-Star, the day before, because that was the worst dunk contest of all time.
Yeah.
What about all those old dudes? They play an All-Star game.
Here's what I think. Get rid of the dunk contest. Get rid of all of that. Skills challenge, everything. One-on-one full court.
With Michael Jordan.
Michael
But
Jordan.
one-on-one full court with
the best players in basketball. Let's figure out who the best player is.
Yeah.
Let's watch Giannis play Jokic one-on-one full court.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
You just can't incentivize it. They're not going to care ever.
No, we'll give you $100 million.
Get the Saudi Arabia Golf League.
Just say it's in Bitcoin.
Giannis versus Phil Mickelson.
Man, poor Phil. That guy, way to
Poor Phil.
just ruin your brand in a day. Like, what an idiotic thing. It was like, how can I ruin my brand in 25 minutes? Bang.
I'm the most likable guy ever. How do I just
see? I never liked Phil. I'm a Tiger guy, so it was like a Duke thing, It was kind of like when Christian Laettner comes out and they're like, this guy evades taxes. You're like, checks out, Like that's who I thought he was.
What do I want to shout? I want to shout out Daytona. I had a
please.
great time in Daytona. Do you want my recap?
Yeah, I do. Look at that, Coach Titus.
Here's a picture of my father who was I snapped this. He didn't know I took this. He's probably watching this. He's probably watching our live stream right now. And losing his mind. But this was it was a father-son trip, Tate. It was it was my dad's been having some health issues.
It was a company men trip.
It was a company men trip. He's had health issues in the past year or so. His mother passed away. My grandma, I gave her a shout out when it was on Halloween, whatever. And so for Christmas, I was like, I'm gonna figure out a way to hook this up. My dad loved NASCAR.
Yeah,
has fallen out of a little bit because Jeff Gordon retired. Basically, this is what it comes down to. So
what happens?
It was Fox hooked it up. We got pit passes. We were walking around. This picture's hilarious because he's watching this pit guy just working on a tire, and he's got his arms crossed, and he's just like,
yep.
He's just waiting for the guy to do something he wouldn't do.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, son, you don't want to do it that way.
That PSI is a little low for me.
But it was an absolute delight because he was he would not shut up about the 90s NASCAR and like how it used to be different back then and like what the difference between the cars, and of course when you were watching
the 90s were the best.
It also we talked a lot about Dale. You'll love that Dale's
man, you got to at Daytona.
It is crazy. It is like
it's got to hit you.
It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
I don't think I can handle it. That's why I don't think
it really like it. Honestly, like we were back in the pits the day of the race, and all the drivers are with their families, and you can see them in their like it's shockingly like very accessible. That event, like if you can get a pit pass, which it feels like a lot of people could. We were on the track before the race, like they just like opened the whole damn thing up, and people are riding in Sharpie on the start finish line.
Kind of sounds like Augusta National. Like if you're there, you're in it, so like you're a part of it.
Luke Combs did a concert, and everyone's just like huddling around on that grass area, and like it's a free for all.
Yeah.
But in the back of the pitch, like all the drivers are just hanging out with their family. MJ was back there, and it's weirdly very
sizing
accessible.
up the other drivers, feeling up on everybody.
Yeah, and I could not, like my dad and I said it to each other, like it just hits you how eerie it is that like this was the Dale Earnhardt experience, like he was doing this, and then like a couple hours later, like I don't know,
especially that and
you watch the crash. I know not to be morbid, but like it's hard not to like to go there, but we had a great time. It was we went to 3 races. We went to the truck race on Friday. We went to the Xfinity on Saturday. We went to the Daytona 500 on Sunday. We a lot of racing. My review is this because I know a lot of people listen to our show from Indy and from the Midwest.
Yeah.
And they love the Indy 500 as much as I do. Which is my favorite event. I make no bones about it. The Indy 500 is above March Madness for me. It is by far my favorite. Maybe not by far. It is my favorite. It is my favorite sporting event in the world. So the question is, how does this stack up? I was expecting a similar scene to the Indy 500, and I went into it as a hater, and I was going to be like, you're trying to be the Indy 500, and you're not the Indy 500. It is so far. It is such a polar opposite vibe from the Indy 500. It shook me. I was so I initially was like, I don't like this at all. This is not racing at all. What is going? I'm not even talking about the race. I'm talking about the track, the vibe around the track, all that stuff. But it won me over because I was like, oh, this is so there's beauty in the difference. You know what I mean? Like this is
it's nice to know that there is a difference. It's not
there's
like
a difference.
They're not competing against each other.
They are not
totally
different
experience.
The Daytona International,
like country music and bluegrass.
Yes. Daytona International Speedway is like the new Yankee Stadium. Not even the old one. It's like super fan friendly. They got the great concession stands, great bathrooms.
Love that.
You know, that's important to me. I did take a number 2 in the bath. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
That's my gauge, dude. You go
is the biggest
you go to
gauge.
you go to the infield at Indy and you try to number 2 in there, you might as well just
go to the doctor.
Might as well just kill yourself.
Just go to the doctor.
Clean bathrooms, clean concession. Like it was very fan friendly. The seats were comfortable. It was like the seat. There's really not a bad seat in the house because they got like a huge grandstand and that's it. The seats don't go around the whole track.
Yeah.
So the seat they build it to where it's like you can, and then the thing is banks. There's really not a bad seat in the house at all. Which is the exact opposite of Indy. It's like Indy, there's like 4 good seats.
Yeah.
Indy is. So that is the new Yankee Stadium. Indy to me is Fenway Wrigley Field. It's like, you can feel like you walk into that place and you feel the history immediately.
Yeah.
And I tell you, they've been racing here since 1911. You're like, I believe that. It definitely feels like they've been here since 1911.
And Daytona's new age.
And Daytona's like, we got to be cool for 2022 crowd and be
very New York Yankees since 2010.
Yeah. So it's like, whatever you prefer, so there's not one better than the other. I definitely still like IMS more, but the other thing was it wasn't as much of a party as I expected.
Yeah.
Like Indy 500 is just an absolute shit show. From the moment you wake up to the traffic is insane getting in. I mean, you get to the if you're good in the infield, you're trying to get in there by like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
If you're leaving at like 9 o'clock to go to the 11 o'clock race, you might as well not even go. You might as well turn around and go back because you're not going to make it. Daytona was a lot like chiller vibe. It was
like
it took
more
us
laid
20
back.
minutes to get in there.
Yeah.
There were I'm sure there was partying going on. There wasn't a ton, it wasn't in your face. I was walking around the infield and it wasn't like I wasn't seeing just like complete debauchery, like you see in Indy. So that stood out to me. The other thing was the beach, dude. We stayed on the beach, and I got the story of the old track on the beach over and over and over about how they used to the race started where half the track was the beach and they raced down the highway. And
Oh,
turned on the
wow.
beach. And then you go there to they have like a restaurant there called the North Turn. Because they raced north up the beach and then they would turn and go down to the highway. And there's like a restaurant right there that's still there. And it has all these pictures and all the history and all that.
That's my
That was
favorite thing
cool.
about NASCAR.
That was
is the
sick.
history.
Yeah.
As someone who had bootleggers in his family, you know what I mean? Just the idea that it all, and then people were just raised,
And
it's got a very organic history, which is wild.
Kyle Busch wrecking. Everyone thought he was out for the race. So Kyle Busch wrecks and the place erupted. That was hilarious too. Everybody hates that guy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a good time. I recommend it. I definitely do. So
Who'd you end up pulling for?
Bubba.
Nice.
I went in. Yeah, we talked about it. All the different guys I was cheering for. Well, I was cheering for Bubba the most because of the handful of guys I had on my list going in. He seemed to have the best chance to win. But then by the end, I was like, I want to see MJ in victory lane.
Yeah.
I just want to see that visual.
Yeah. If he had won Daytona and then went to the 75, he would have played Magic Johnson one-on-one.
Yes.
In fact, if someone gave Magic Johnson shoes, he would have played him one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's all that was missing.
I don't know. I'm sure NASCAR people have talked about it already. I'm sure they'll write articles moving forward and discuss it about Michael Jordan's influence on the sport and how he's getting more eyeballs on it and all that. Whatever. Yeah. But I'm here to tell you, I'm 100% that guy. That's like, I don't care about Bubba Wallace one way or another. I don't know. I don't really.
I don't know much about.
I don't know much about the guy. I know a lot about Michael Jordan, and so I was like, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
If the 23 McDonald's Michael Jordan car won.
Well, I turned it on with, like lap 120, and it was Brad Daugherty is talking because his guy was leading the race at the time, and then Michael Jordan's team, they show them, and I'm like, what is this? Carolina basketball with the NASCAR?
Yeah.
I was like, this is where it's
Dude,
gone.
Emmitt Smith owns one of the teams, the Xfinity, the Saturday night race. He was there. I stood right next to him. I was watching him like he was in pit row, like chopping it up with his guys. And I don't know how much he knows about racing or not because I think he's kind of a new owner.
Yeah,
but
in the world
it's crazy.
In the world of gambling too, where everything is about like putting your daily fantasy. Like NASCAR is a great sport for gambling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It really is.
Yeah,
it's kind of perfect.
Is NASCAR back? Is that what we're saying? Can we declare it back? I think it might be.
It's back on our show. It's back
on our show. Yeah. It's a good time. A lot of chain restaurants around Daytona. That was cool. There's a Hooters right across the street. Not even kidding. Like the main entrance to get into Daytona International Speedway, right across the street is a Hooters. That's probably throw a football from the main entrance and hit the Hooters. I was like, this is ain't that America, indeed. So the vibe that's the only way I'd say is it's like very different than Indy, and I hated it at first, but then by the end of it, I was like,
you fell in love.
That's the beauty of it. It is different. Why would I want the same thing? Why would I want a B tier Indy 500? I don't want that. I want a different experience. It was a completely different experience. And I would recommend going if you're someone who's ever thought about going. Definitely worth it. So there you go.
There you go, Jim.
Jim, I know that's big on your list. A guy who, would you say the only two states that matter are New York and LA?
Yeah, that's it.
Coastal elites.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Shout out to UConn. I feel like this was a good night.
Shout out to UConn. Great night for UConn. Great night for Providence. Great night for the old Big East. I think it is the old Big East is back. I think the old Big East is back. NASCAR's back. The 90s are back.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's back sunning everyone at the NBA.
I love it.
Yeah. There you go.
Also, one last thing. Tom Brady to the 49ers. In the last show I said shout out Tom Brady. He's going to come back and play football. I think I'm right about that, but he's going to the 49ers, not the Raiders.
You thought it was the Raiders.
I just thought.
What about the Colts? The Colts need a quarterback.
No. He's going to the Niners because Joe Montana. And you know what? When you retire from the NFL, you have to wait 3 months, and then that team loses your rights. So we got 3 months, probably like 2.5 months, and then he can go to the 49ers.
What What if the Niners sign Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady both?
Well,
and they make them duke it out?
Rodgers wants it, but I think the Brady's their choice.
That's hilarious.
It's great.
So funny. All right, that's the show. Congrats to Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies. See you guys on Friday.
Thanks.